One of the best pitchers in baseball just had one of the worst starts you will ever see. Garrett Crochet entered the season looking like a Cy Young favorite, but in less than 2 innings, everything completely unraveled. And somehow, it kept getting worse with every batter he faced. But what made this meltdown truly unbelievable was not just the 10 runs, it was the history he made in the process. One of the best pitchers in baseball just had a meltdown so bad it put him in the history books for all the wrong reasons. Garrett Crochet entered 2026 looking like one of the safest bets in baseball after finishing near the top of Cy Young Award voting and dominating through his first few starts. But against Minnesota, everything completely collapsed. His velocity dropped, his command disappeared, the defense behind him fell apart, and somehow it only kept getting worse. By the end of the second inning, Crochet had already made unwanted MLB history. And the craziest part is, the numbers somehow look even worse than you think. At first, it looked like a completely normal night for Garrett Crochet. He got an easy first out against Byron Buxton and seemed ready to settle in. But then everything started unraveling fast. Back-to-back doubles immediately put pressure on him, and suddenly his usual overpowering stuff was nowhere to be found. His fastball velocity was down, his cutter looked flat, and hitters were making hard contact almost every at-bat. That was the first sign something was seriously wrong. And unfortunately for Boston, the worst was still ahead. Because the defense behind him was about to turn a bad inning into total chaos. Just when it looked like Garrett Crochet might escape with limited damage, the entire game completely spiraled out of control. Trevor Story made a great diving stop up the middle, but instead of ending the inning, he launched both the ball and his glove towards second base in one of the strangest errors you will ever see. 2 more runs scored, the crowd started getting restless, and Boston suddenly looked completely shaken. Crochet was already struggling, but now the defense behind him was making everything even worse. And somehow, the second inning would be even more brutal. At that point, most managers probably would have pulled their ace and tried to stop the bleeding. But Alex Cora made the surprising decision to leave Garrett Crochet in the game, and that is where this outing went from ugly to historic. The second inning started with more traffic on the bases, then came another RBI hit from Ryan Jeffers before Josh Bell crushed a huge 2-run double. Suddenly, Boston was down 7-0, and Crochet still was not coming out. But the next batter delivered the swing that officially ended everything. That next swing came from Victor Caratini, and it officially turned a bad outing into one of the ugliest starts in recent memory. He crushed a 3-run homer deep to left field, pushing the score to 10-0 and leaving the crowd in complete disbelief. Somehow Garrett Crochet was still left in the game after that. He finally recorded 2 quick outs, briefly making it seem like he might survive the inning, but then of all people, Ryan Cradler launched a no-doubt homer to end the nightmare. And somehow, the final stat line looked even worse than the home runs did. The final numbers barely even look real. Garrett Crochet finished with just 1 2/3 innings pitched, 9 hits allowed, 10 earned runs, 3 walks, and 0 strikeouts. For a pitcher known for overpowering hitters, that 0 in the strikeout column might be the craziest part. According to baseball researchers, this exact combination of innings, runs, hits, walks, and strikeouts had never happened before. Only a handful of pitchers in MLB history have allowed 10 runs in 2 innings or less. Crochet did it while making completely unwanted history. But for Boston, the bigger concern might be what this means moving forward. One bad start does not erase how talented Garrett Crochet is, but the drop in velocity, lack of strikeouts, and Boston's ugly start to the season will raise real concerns. Red Sox fans will now watch his next outing very closely. Because if this happens again, bigger questions will start getting asked. Baseball can humble even the best players, and that is exactly what happened to Garrett Crochet. In less than 2 innings, he went from looking like an ace to making unwanted MLB history. Now the biggest question is simple: was this just a fluke or something much worse?